member for Serekunda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. This second ordinary session of the 2018 legislative year was conceived by many to be the defining moment for the country. I had anticipated that after the donor conference where that we will be having the President here under Section 77 of the Constitution to address Parliament on the policies of the government and the administration of the state. I anticipated that this would have injected hope. For hope is what we need in a country that is in transition. In a country that is in transition, you do not only need the reconstitution of institutions and instruments, but you also need inclusiveness, where people will know that despite the difficulties, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I am surprised that that did not happen, and I'm still demanding that the executive consider that important move. And I hope those representing the executive here will give us an explanation why that did not happen. Honorable Speaker, it is important for us to look at the issue of security after Faraba and many other places. There's no need to go back into all that. But we, yes, have been promised coroner's inquest, a commission of inquiry, but it will be necessary for the intelligence sector, as well as the Ministry of Interior, to meet as quickly as possible in order to prepare a framework for risk assessment and then meet the Standing Committee on Defense and Security so that we can really look at the architecture of the sources of risk in terms of security and what to do to inject a preventive strategy to address this problem. It is urgent. We know the issue of land, the issue of pollution, the issue of the dump sites, the issue of even citizenship. All these are issues coming, and they are conflict-ridden. And if you hear the language in terms of ethnicity, all these remarks being made tells us where the country is heading unless we develop a preventive strategy. Honorable Speaker, we've been told that 28 billion debt to domestic debt, 28 billion external debt, over 52 billion. If you really want to have per capita, is like every Gambian will be carrying, shouldering over 26,000 debt on our heads. We know that this is not sustainable. But how do we address it? Yes, donor conference pledges that assist. Yes, we may succeed in even getting this debt to be offset. Yes. But what are we doing concretely to be able to address the problems of our country? It's not possible for people to live on less than $1,000 a month. It's not possible. Salaries must be increased. Therefore, we must demand that the government establish a salaries commission, pension commission, to look into the issue. We must not accept that, yes, this is the state of the economy, then it is not possible. We must see the state of the economy as a challenge, and how do we address it becomes the fundamental question. How do we generate income? Well, that is the task of our economists. That is the task of Parliament. We must look into it together and find solutions. We've been told here at the beginning that mining was taking place in Batokunkusam and Karton. Zircon being produced, ilmenite being produced. But then what has happened? We must be told the truth. We cannot be silent about this. We've talked about Tumana, something was happening there. What was happening there? If resources are available, we must be told what type of resources, what was being done in the past, where that wealth went, and whether we will be able to recover that, we will be able to produce it now for 1 year and a half. We are going to 2 years, and we are told that we have mineral resources. Where is it? So it is important that we identify where those resources are. We've been told that airplanes and all this, so they should come back. Honorable Speaker, inventory is the starting point of a transition. To do an inventory of everything as a start. And then we move towards programming, move towards investment, and move towards development, sustainable development. So we need to go back, learn from our challenges, the mistakes we've made so far, and then start anew. Honorable Speaker, look at the ocean. Fish can solve our basic problems, but we are not investing in anything under the current circumstances. So it is important, Honorable Speaker, for us to move in that direction. Yes, Serekunda, the urban area, clearly the roads are terrible. But if you follow the budget speech of the minister, we were told that they are going to upgrade 500 kilometers of roads in the Greater Banjul area, the Abuko bypass. So we need that to be identified. Yes, he has identified the ones in the rural areas. Maybe that will be those in the urban area. That will be the next question, to identify this 500 kilometers of roads, because essentially they must be handled. Otherwise, we are going to have more suffering in those areas. We must deal with the issue of drainage. We must deal with the issue of electricity. We must deal with the issue of water. We must deal with the issue of sewerage. So it means that the ministries responsible for this need to come together and map out a municipality plan of some sort to address these various problems, locating the challenges and coming up with a grand plan, and this should be done within a year. You cannot go on up to 3-4 years and you start planning. Planning starts now. It gives you direction. We're talking about all these difficulties that we are having with electricity and water supply. Can you believe in the Serekunda constituency and Serekunda in general, KMC in general, people are still drawing water from wells, uncovered wells. Many people will not believe this. We'll take the Minister of Energy to these locations, and we should do it together, so that they see exactly the concrete realities. You see the raw sewage, etc. So in essence, Honorable Speaker, we need to identify these problems as quickly as possible to be able to address them. In terms of electricity generation, we were told by the minister in his budget speech that it falls below 70 kilowatts, and that there is also technical loss of 26%. And there is a plan to be able to address this problem. We need to be updated all the time. There is a power purchase agreement with Senegal. How long will that be? What is the cost benefit of generation and also purchasing, power? How do we handle this issue? In the long run, it is of course foreign exchange going for heavy fuel, but foreign exchange also going for purchase of power. And in one instance, you may be accumulating to invest. The other instance, you may just be spending. So we need really an update in these arrangements that have been made. Honorable Speaker, it is also very significant for us to look at the youth population and the young people who are brought here involuntarily and those who are brought voluntarily. We are not only talking about centers to welcome them, but where do they go? I have a letter from a young man whose parent has suffered from stroke. He has no means. He is brought back here. He has a poultry project. He has sent it everywhere. And nothing is coming out of this. So it is important to establish a permanent center where any of us can refer the person, and that we expect processing, we expect accompaniment, we expect results. You cannot have projects without continuous assessment and monitoring and evaluation. That cannot be. They keep on telling us something is being done, but the young people are continuing to come to our offices, and then we refer them to places and you see no result. So we need concrete places where we say that this is where the problem is being handled, and then you send them there and they come back with results. That is important. And obviously, in terms of employment, it is important for that labor institution to be put into operation where people can go and indicate that these are their qualifications and this is the type of job they could do, and they process them and match them with those who wish for their services. This is when we can determine the unemployment rate of the country. Who knows the unemployment rate of the country at the moment? Where are the statistics? So we continue to blame the young people. They don't want to work. You know, foreigners are doing this and that and that. And the essential thing is that there are many skilled personnel in this country. But how do we get them to the jobs? That is the issue. So we need to create a mechanism as quickly as possible, rather than just blame, mechanism to know where we've gone wrong and how to address the problem. Honorable Speaker, it is also very significant for us to look at this land issue. We have a Lands Commission Act 2007. Why is it that the commission is yet to be established? I am saying that there should be no demolition of any building anywhere until this commission is set up. Because if we continue to do that, we are injecting real crisis, security crisis in the country, as has happened in many places. You don't inherit a system and continue to act the same way. You inherit a system and then start to evaluate what you have inherited as a challenge, and then develop your strategies, develop your plans and programs to be able to address the problem you have inherited. Our basic problem, why we're having most of this crisis, is we inherit a system and we have not sat down to evaluate what has been inherited and what is to be done. Look at security. People are just saying, reduce the security forces. And then you are saying that still we lack security coverage in many parts of the country. Is that rational? So what is the problem? You cannot come to solution without evaluation. You must do research, you must do investigation, you must find out what you have, and then strategically you come up with solutions. We, as a nation that had emerged from crisis, was moving into a new Gambia where even our security forces, properly oriented, could have gone into peacekeeping forces all over the world. Our security forces, by virtue of the democratic dispensation of the country, could have been the darling of the world.
You have 2 more minutes.
Yes, I accept that. So in essence then, my conclusion, Honorable Speaker, is that let's sit down again and reflect on our challenges and reflect on the way forward. And the starting point is for the executive to sit down and prepare a report to tell us, out of all the developments, what is its way forward. And then this parliament will also inject its thinking in that process, and probably will be able to have a new start. Thank you.
Thank you very much.